Rodney. Mariners put up 3 runs on 3 hits and left 2 in the top half of the 7th to cut the gap to 6-4.
And Rodney's looked good this spring. He's had a good fastball. Always the great changeup.
Rodney's going to face 5, 6, and 7 in the order for the Padres. Spangenberg, the hitter. From Fernando. Hit down the first, 1 away, and we heard your story about your first time up the big league game. Bill Kruger, your story begins with what?
You know, I'm trying to remember my first game in spring training, but that doesn't really sit in my mind too clearly for some reason. I was brought up to the Oakland A's. I made big league camp without winning a professional game. That should tell you something about how weak the Oakland A's system was when I came in through the ranks. But I do remember my first time in big league camp throwing batting practice and being so incredibly nervous because I was a converted position player. I'd only just put my toe in the water in rookie ball, and I proceeded to go out and hit Dwayne Murphy on the top of the helmet with a breaking ball. The balls weren't rubbed up, and that was my excuse. But man, talk about nervous and talk about thoroughly embarrassed with that first time through with the big leaguers.
Man, oh man.
I'm surprised you didn't get released on the spot, Bill.
Tells you again how desperate Oakland was for pitching at the time.
Bill, we were talking about, you know, in football they call it the Day of the Turk. What do you remember about seeing, being involved or seeing other guys, and how, you know, the effect of seeing that, hey, you know, Skip wants to see you, those days?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you said.
No, I said I was wondering, we were talking about today was a cutdown day for the Mariners, and I was just wondering what your experience was, either being a part of it or certainly watching it from the clubhouse when it happened to them.
Well, there were some times when you can hear the voices being raised in the manager's office, and sometimes it was rather funny, believe it or not, because some guys had some pretty good arguments they wanted to make. But it's never funny when it's you, that's for sure. And you can feel the shroud and the shadow coming to find you. That's for sure, because you can kind of feel it coming. And most of us know when it's going to happen. And for the most part, it's pretty fundamental to the game. I mean, you're a young player. You're going to go down to AAA. You're going to go to AA. You're going to go to Single A. That's pretty much rule of thumb. It's only when you get to be an older player, I think, that it's troublesome and it's hard because you know that your chances are starting to dwindle.
Wow. And he better, hopefully you have a fallback.
Yeah, I remember being in camp here after I tore my knee up. And the next year I came to camp, and I was battling with Chris Sabo. And I had no idea how that one was going to go. And that was towards the end. And like Bill said, you get down to this last week, and boy, fortunately I ended up making the club, but you just never know.
I can tell you, probably the most pointed situation I ever had actually wasn't in spring training, but it was like in the first couple weeks of the season. I got called into Tony La Russa's office when I was with Oakland toward the end of my tenure there. And they had switched me to the bullpen and sped up my delivery and asked me to do all these things in spring training, and I had done them. And then the first couple weeks of the season, nothing went right. Every time I came in, a runner would be left on base. Jay Howell was struggling as a closer, so my run would score. And Tony calls me in the office and says that they need to activate Joaquin Andujar, and I'm the odd guy out. But he wanted to assure me that everything that I was doing was correct. And we got into a little bit of a semantics argument that had to do with the fact that he wanted me to continue to do what I was doing with my shortened delivery, and I was telling him that I was going to go down and do whatever I could to get back to pitching the way I was capable of. And we reached a point where the discussion went into an argument to, if you don't do what we ask you to do, Bill, you'll never come back. And he was correct, because I went down to do what I thought